Good morning, good morning, beautiful people. It's a Monday morning, and this is time for Motivational Mondays. So please invite your friends, please invite anyone that you know who may be interested in tuning in. My name is Pastor Ntabise Mwepe. I am here with you this morning. Kindly, it's wonderful actually to have me in your homes. It's wonderful to have me with you wherever you are. So please do tune in. I see we've got two viewers already with us on this live podcast. So please allow me to play some music so that we can invite and notify other people that this motivational Monday is happening, that this motivational Monday is taking place. So you need to hear this today. What are we talking about? We are talking about you knowing yourself. Do you really know who you are? So allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to do this while we wait for people to come through to us. Let's.
Come on, lift up your hands tonight. Mamaleti wa muki Tate ramata woshi Wabote Holeratu Uchechi kahanya Mamaleti wa muki Tate ramata woshi Wabote Holeratu Uchechi kahanya Hare tue murena, hare tue murena, hare tue, yena ki khosh, hare tue murena. Moloki wa mapi si chamelo saru moji mudaj moji mumura moyo muhetwa Moloki wa mapi si chamelo saruna moji mudaj moji mumura moyo muhetwa yena ke kgoši ya re o a reetswe ke kgoši o a rilela yena a reetswe re mmone o a rilela kgoši ya rena a reetswe pagamiša matsogo o re a que mushirelete kgoši ya rena o ya buša Jesu o ya buša Jesu ka mengwaga le mengwaga o ya buša Jesu o ke kgoši ya rena ke mošireletši ke mophimedi ke tau ya leloko la Juda ke mo ba gona neng le neng ga tsebe boroko ga tsebe boroko ga tsebe boroko o a rilela o a rilela o a rilela o a rilela o a rilela.
Good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Motivational Mondays. I'm Thabiseng Mwepe. I hope that you will be, benefit from this discussion that we are going to have this morning. And I see we've got quite a couple of people already with us. Yes, Pastor Franz Mwepe, this is my husband. And he says, I am here, I am watching with you. So please, guys, just share this video. Please, guys, let's notify people that we are here. We are having this meeting today, that we are having this. I hope that we are, ready and available and willing to go on with this topic, because I know that most people have the reluctance to really interrogate who they are, to really look deeply into who they are. So we started off this morning, this Monday morning, with this topic, and I hope that it's not going to, well, I think that's an unrealistic hope, if I can put it that way. I know that it's going to force us actually to open the doors to some uncomfortable places in our lives. It's going to force us really to, confront some troubled, some areas of our lives. So let's have this, let's have this, let's have this, it's on standby mode. It's on standby mode. So I just hope that you will be able to. Guys, we are having a little bit of a difficulty, but I hope we are coming through okay to you. Our camera keeps going on standby mode, but I hope that we will listen, and I hope it doesn't go through into standby mode again. So let's get going with this discussion. Let's get going with this topic. This morning we are talking about, do you really know who you are? We are talking about your true identity. It's very important for us, to get to the bottom of who you are. If you don't, then you essentially are going to have relationships that will be ticking you off most of the time. You will be having those kind of relationships that will not last, because when you ask most people who they are, they don't really give you a concrete answer. They don't really give you the kind of answer that guides you into dealing with them. But if we know who someone is, if we know who someone really is, then you know how to relate with them. You know how to make a relationship with them work. But if you don't, it becomes a play field for offense most of the time. So I'm hoping that with this discussion, it will force us to look deeper into ourselves. It will force us to look deeper into the kind of people that we are, to know ourselves, to look for who we are. Because most of us really get lost in the world. We get lost in the experiences of our past. We get lost in the experiences of our life. We get lost in the traumas that take place in our lives. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Let's get going with this discussion. Now, if you ask many people, who are you? They will answer this question as follows. If you say, Ntabiseng ke mang, the immediate answer you will get is, Ntabiseng ke motho o mo sharp, ke motho o mo right, ke motho o mo sharp. But when you say Ntabiseng ke motho o mo sharp, ke motho o mo right, you don't really give someone like a clear guidance, a clear definition, a clear way forward as to who you are, and as to what makes you tick, as to what you like, as to what you don't like. In fact, most people describe themselves in terms of their dislikes. If you say who you are, they will say to you, na ke motho o mo right, na ke motho wa ho rata batho, mara nna o ska ntira so. So most people describe who they are in terms of their dislikes. They don't give you what defines the essence of their character, what defines the substance of their character. But you will go away from the conversation knowing a lot about what they like, about what they dislike, as opposed to who they are, what are their values, what are their beliefs, and what are the principles that they live with. So, what defines a human being? What defines a human being is the values that you live by, the values that you uphold in your life, the values that you carry forth. When someone interacts with you, they must know she's an honest person, meaning that her value is the value of truth. So when you deal with Intabi saying you're looking for the honest person, you are dealing with an honest person. So she's looking to relate with people who are honest with and to her. And then also we look at she's an adventurous person. What does she like partaking in? It speaks to the kind of things that she likes partaking in. So that also goes into the character of a person. So it guides the next person who comes into Ntabiseng's life to say Ntabiseng is the kind of person who doesn't like to be pinned down. She likes to be out and about. She likes to go and meet people. She likes to do things that are out of her comfort zone. So it tends to then take someone and gives them a picture of the entity. When I say entity, I mean the human being that they are dealing with. So they are vigilant. When I say vigilant, I mean alert. They are vigilant as to what to look out for in their interaction with you. They are also cautious to what to avoid in their interaction with you. But with most of us, it becomes a case of Kemotomo sharp. What is Kemotomo sharp? It's no definition of who you are. What is Kemotomo right? It's no substance of who you are. Tell me what you believe. Then I will know the kind of person, the kind of character, the kind of entity that I am living with. Tell me what matters to you. Tell me what carries you on a day-to-day basis. Then I will start knowing, oh, right, this is the kind of person I see my friend, my learned colleague, Podu Mdluli, my sister in the Lord. She says, I am a lover of good things. So she is somebody, then I would say, she's a stylish somebody. She loves to pamper herself. So that when I'm dealing with this kind of person, I must acknowledge that I'm dealing with someone who loves to take good care of themselves, who loves to share good things. So it guides you one way or another. It guides you. How do you deal with that kind of person? Now, with most people, we become the results of what we experience in life, and that is a fact. And that is it's a true fact. We cannot run away from it. Experiences that we go through, and I've written extensively about this in my book, The Mending of a Broken Vessel. The experiences that we go through in life, they shape who we are. We cannot lie. We cannot hide from that, because we are the experiences that we live. And in this book, I say experiences do shape our beliefs and ultimately our perception of who we are. And with me, my own life, and I will give an example of myself. This is who I was, my experiences, my whole, a suitcase of my past. It dictated how I related to people. It dictated how I, perceived myself. It dictated how I engaged even with the world. Above all, it dictated how I perceived the world. So I saw the world as a cruel place. I saw the world as a place that has no room for people like me. Why? Because I was wounded. Also, what it did and the effect of me carrying my experiences into my future became the fact that I interacted from a place of wounded. I interacted from a place of hate. I interacted from a place of my past. So I could not even live in the current moment. I could not even enjoy life as it is, as I should be living it now. In other words, what am I saying? I could not live in the now simply because of the prison that my past had built. So my experiences built and shaped an existence for me. And as an end result, I became this bitter person. I became this wounded person. I became this untrusting person. I became this defensive person. Why? Because my experiences had taught me, life experiences had taught me that, you know what? Wherever I go, someone is bound to betray me. Wherever I go, someone is bound to do something that is going to hurt me. Wherever I go, someone is going to do something that is going to, increase my distrust. So it's better if I trust no one. That's where you hear people say, phrases like love them all, but trust no one. It's not because people are untrustworthy. No, 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 no. It's because experiences of the past have said to this individual, I have trusted many people too often, and I have come to a place where I have been let down. So the question I'm asking you today, do you know who Podu is? Do you know who Pastor Francis? Do you know who Pastor Clement is? Do you know who Tabi Singh is? Or are you stuck in the prison of your past? Are you defining yourself according to the experiences that took place in your life? I want to share this with you. And most of you already know this about me. I'm a born again believer. I am a lover of Christ. I am a worshiper of God. I am a person who's constantly, seeing themselves through the eyes of God. I'm constantly seeing myself at the feet of Jesus. That is where I draw my strength. That is where I draw my life. That is where I draw the definition of who I am. So, what I want to share with you is the following. It's my life story. When I got married to my husband, I was from a previous marriage. And it had been a very abusive marriage. Mentally, my psyche was just not in the right place. So I lived a life where I had been hurt, I had been betrayed, I had been, humiliated. And I carried that experience right through with me into my second marriage. I had been wounded, not only from my previous marriage, but from my young adulthood life. I had been rejected. I had been spoken ill about. I had experienced a lot of things that I carried into the marriage with me. I had been financially abused. So when I married my husband, my current husband, when God gave me the second chance into marriage, I went into that marriage from the prison of my past. I went into that marriage as a wounded woman. Remember, I had gotten married as a wounded girl. I was wounded when my parents got divorced. Experiences, what we encounter in life, regardless of what we may say, regardless of how we may shelve them and move on. And I was watching this a video by my friend, Apostle Komosho Lebelo, in the week. And she said in that video, no matter what we say, what we go through leaves a mark. It leaves a mark in our lives. So we can rise up, right into kapelanyana and say, you know what? It doesn't matter. Bantirile so, I sharp, but I'm moving on. But there is a mark that has been left. So with me, I started understanding in my adulthood that I've experienced, there is a mark that has been left by the dissolution of the marriage of my parents. I was a confused child, navigating my way between two parents. Who do I love most? Is it possible for me to love the one without, being or feeling be a sense of betrayal to the other? Who do I give my love to? Who do I give my loyalties to? So I carried that into my adulthood. And from a confused little girl, I became a confused little woman. I became a confused teenager, and I became a confused a pregnant teenager, and I became a confused teenage mother. So I ended up becoming a confused wife when I got married. So I became a wounded and confused wife to a man. So I approached my marriage with experiences that I had in my life. But it didn't end there. I carried on the experiences that took place in my previous marriage. They built on, they added on to what I was experiencing. So what happened with me became that when I got divorced and I entered into, God gave me the grace. God gave me, God gave me the grace to have a second chance at marriage. So when I got remarried, there I was, a wounded, confused wife. So I became a pastor. There I was, a confused, wounded wife, a mother, and a pastor. Why? Because I had experiences that I had not healed from. I had experiences that I had not, allowed in my life. So in our lives, in our everyday interactions, we then gather our identity from those experiences. We then gather who we are from those experiences. And this is where the knowledge of who Ntabiseng is, the knowledge of who Podu is, the knowledge of who Siabonga is, doesn't come through, because you end up not knowing the real you. So I lived my life into my adulthood not knowing the real Ntabiseng. And I wrote about this in my book. I wrote that, I trusted no one. I wrote that I was so aggressive. I was so protective of myself that you come closer to me and I sense that I am being attacked. I was sure. I made sure to attack you before you got to me, to hurt you before you come to me. So I was a hateful person. Why? Because my experiences shaped me into that. Now, it's a good thing. And the Bible says to us that when we go through these experiences, we are to count it as joy, because they forge who we are. They become a blazing fire for the refining of the character of who Ntabiseng is. But with most of us, the difficulty becomes this: we get stuck in the experiences. When bad things happen to you in life, life happens to all of us. When bad things happen to you in life, you have two reactions that can come out of it. You can either say, I'm learning from this, I'm growing from this, I am becoming a better person out of this, and most definitely, I am going forward from this with the lessons that I have learned. Or you can say, life has happened to me. Oh, it's so bad what happened to me. Oh, it's so hurtful what happened to me. Oh, I just cannot move on from what happened to me. Why did they do this to me? Why, why me? You can cry the tears that never end. And as a result, your whole existence, your whole life, your whole shape, your whole character is shaped by those incidents. And you get stuck there. So chances are, whatever that happens in your life, whatever that takes place even in your future, whatever that is taking place even in the now, it is influenced, it is shaped by a past experience. Now, I'll give you a classic example of what I'm speaking about. When I got married, I became very hateful to my husband. Wounded people bleed on others. Of all the people that I have been through with, I dated. I was one of those, Bazalwanis who didn't live the true gospel. So now I was involved from relationship hoping. It didn't put them in of a broken person. So I was hoping for one relationship to another relationship, to another relationship, to another relationship. So I wanted a place where I could feel loved. I wanted a place where I could feel accepted. I wanted a place where I could feel embraced for who I was. And with every person that encountered me, when the head little girl arose from our conversations, when the head little girl popped up, some would say, there's too much drama here. This is too much. I can't deal with her. She's too aggressive. She's too interrogative. She's not trusting. She's this and this. And I was labeled as a result. But no one was equipped, no one was able to identify quickly that this is a broken person that I am dealing with. So instead, I got more and more wounded from the relationship hoping. Because I would believe I have found love. I would believe I found a place of acceptance, only to find that no, I'm too dramatic. No, I'm too much not trusting. No, I'm a little bit too much, so I can't deal with this type of thing. So off the guy would go. So my husband became the only person to stick around with me. He became the only person that I would say perhaps he was empowered by the word of God, because he knew who he was. He was comfortable in who he was, in the identity of himself, that he was able to deal with the imperfections that I came with. So he was able to carry through and identify that this is a wounded girl. And instead of doing what others had done, of saying there's too much drama here, there's too much going on here, I cannot do this, he instead said, I'm gonna help her. And I credit Christ, I credit Jesus, I credit my husband as well I credit God for using my husband as an instrument to bring healing also, and awareness into my life. Above all, awareness, because I kept on wounding him. I kept on stabbing him, bleeding unto him. And that is exactly what wounded people do. If someone doesn't know who they are, and the experiences of their past dictate who they are, then chances are they live their entire life stuck in their past. They live their entire life waiting to discover who they really type of saying. But they cannot get to that type of saying. Why? There is fence, if I can put it. There is a demarcation. The real type of saying is on the other side. The wounded type of saying is on this side, working every part of the journey with them, also preventing them from discovering the other type of saying. I'll give you a simple analogy that is in the Bible. This is the story of Joshua. This is the story of Moses. I came to understand this as I was sitting in one of the sermons by my spiritual father. And I came to understand that the story of Joshua and Moses, it indicates exactly how many of us live. My husband is saying, don't be stuck in your past and allow your experiences and your past to define who you are. That there's a better you. Definitely there is a better you. When Moses passed on, it became a time of mourning. So the Israelites, God said to them, I'm taking you to a promised land. I'm taking you somewhere else. And for them, they looked forward to that place that they didn't know. But when Moses died, it became a place of them for them of mourning. It became a time for them of mourning. It became a time of them when, you know, suddenly they started having a mind shift. According to the Israelites, it was more a thinking that, Moses was with us. Moses was leading us on this journey. Moses was working with us on this journey. So, because Moses died, what happens to us now? So they became fixated on mourning for Moses. They were sitting on this end. They were just facing the river Jordan. And on the other side of the river Jordan was the promised land. The promised land had every fruit that God said it would have. It had every, overflow that God said it would have. It was a land of milk and honey. It was a land of beautiful things. It was a land that they would prosper in. But because Moses was gone, they were now sitting at the place of crying. They cried for Moses. They cried for Moses. They kept on crying for Moses. And when you read the Bible, I imagine that they must have remained in mourning for quite a long time. Because you move from the book of Deuteronomy to the book of Joshua. And it seems to me that Moses passed away just after the book of Deuteronomy. So they are sitting there crying in the book of Deuteronomy up until the book of Joshua. And God says to Joshua, Joshua, son of Nun, rise up. Moses, my servant, is gone. Now be strong. Stand up. Be courageous. What is God saying right there? God was saying to Joshua, Joshua, have you not cried long enough? Joshua, have you not mourned long enough? Joshua, how long are you still going to cry? It's like the story of David and Samuel. It's like the story of Saul and Samuel. The Lord says to the prophet Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul? How long will you mourn? So some of us experiences. Some of us go through bad experiences, but we sit there in our mourning. We sit there. Yes, we sit there in our cries, and it never ends. And we are constantly crying, and we are constantly crying, and we are constantly, weeping. We are constantly in a state of aggrievement. Why? Because my life, my past happened to me. My experiences happened to me because I was raped. So I cannot move on because I was raped, because I was sexually assaulted. I cannot move on because I was molested. I cannot move on because I was dumped. I cannot move on because, I had an abusive boyfriend. I cannot move on. I cannot trust. I cannot love again. I cannot believe again. So your lifetime experiences shape a whole existence about you. They shape a whole world that you live in. They shape a whole environment that you walk in. They shape a whole way that you relate with people. Your relationships becomes about your brokenness. Your relationships become about your state. So I cannot laugh because I'm broken. I cannot trust because I went through this. I cannot. How long will you mourn? How long will you cry? Because guess what? Life has happened. It's time now to move on. It's time now to rise up. Joshua, be strong and courageous. Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul? Arise and go and anoint David. Arise and go and anoint David. My friends, you cannot live in the experiences of your past. You cannot live in the experiences of your past because you are not enjoying your life now. You are not even able to live now. You cannot love now. You cannot trust now. So when we ask who is Ntabiseng is somebody who does not trust anybody. Why? Because of an experience that took place more than 10 years back, an experience that took place more than 3 years back. Ntabiseng is a prisoner of a past. Ntabiseng cannot cross over the Jordan to the other side. Ntabiseng cannot cross over to realize the promises of God on the other side. Above all, the worst tragic thing about the whole thing becomes that Ntabiseng does not even know who she is. So when you ask Ntabiseng, who are you? The answer becomes, I don't want somebody who's too close to me. I don't want somebody who lies to me. I don't want somebody who's not going to be honest with me. I don't want somebody who likes to do this. No. I did not ask what you don't like. I asked, who are you? Do you know who you are? Do you know what you like? Or do you know mostly what you don't like? Because with us, our experiences dictate to us. Our experiences say to us, I do not like. So what I do not like becomes the definition of me. Why? Because it is what has happened to me in my past. That is why when you look at most people, I've learned this from the writing of my book, The Mending of a Broken Vessel. I've come to understand that the experiences that we go through, when we hear about them, when we spot them in other people, we tend to get agitated, don't we? When I used to be a pregnant teenager at the age of 16 in Metric. So when I spot a teenager that is pregnant, it immediately, wounds, it immediately takes me back to that little girl that I was. And it immediately, awakens in me those feelings. And I want to talk to that girl. And I say to that girl, it's not the end of the world. And I say to that girl, have your baby. Immediately go back to school. Make sure you don't fall pregnant again. Focus on getting yourself an education. Focus on improving yourself. Focus on now doing the best for you. Because now there is a baby involved. So when I see a baby, when I see a little girl, running around, and sometimes you see our kids that this one is already has a little bit of knowledge regarding the dating things. So when I see and spot that in a child, in a girl child, my immediate instinct is to call them and say, baby girl, let's have a conversation. I say, baby girl, let's talk. Are you dating anyone? Are you seeing anyone? And I tell them, you know what? The word of God doesn't allow you to. And we advise our kids and we tell them, save yourself the heartache, save yourself the trauma, save yourself the pain that can come with some of the things that you decide to do because you're not emotionally, you're not psychologically mature enough to partake in those things. So when the child decides to do it anyway, I continue with the counseling. I don't abandon. I continue with the counseling. And I always share experiences of my own life. One story that I openly speak about with people is my own experience of making the decision to terminate a pregnancy in my university years. I fell pregnant again with my second, with who would have been my second son or daughter. And because of the rejection and the experiences of my past and the pain that I was, and what I had experienced, the hardship of being a teenage mother around me. I could not have another child. I could not, at that point in time, bring another life into the world. I thought about my parents who supported me. I thought about, my university years, and I thought, what am I gonna do with another baby? So I took the decision to have an abortion. So I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell even the guy who impregnated me, and I waited. It was during just after the exams, the November exams, and I got home and I kept quiet. But I developed such a hatred for that young man. I developed such a hatred for him because he impregnated me. I developed such an attitude. And I tell you, this was a love affair at university. So throughout the December period that I was here, he came to Limpopo. He was from Soweto. So he came from Limpopo twice. And he called me. He said, I'm around here in Sishu. I'd love to see you. And I said, no, I'm not interested in seeing you. And he came again and he said, I'm around here. And it was the pain that was speaking in me. I hated him. I did not want to see him. And I could not tell him that the reason that I hate you is because I'm carrying, it's because I'm pregnant with your child. And I hate you because you impregnated me. And I went, and mid December, I just went to the doctor and I had an abortion. So when I see a young child, I did not understand. Let me go back. Let me retract my steps. I did not understand the pain of the decision that I was making. For me, I was getting rid of a problem. But in years to come, my husband will tell you, particularly when I was writing my book, The Mending of a Broken Vessel, there would be days when he would pick me up from the bathroom floor. I would be in such a state. I would be so weeping. I would be crying. And I would be, mourning the sense of a loss for my child, for the child that I never allowed myself to have, for the pain that I subject myself to, for the loss that I brought on myself. But then I was too young to understand. But then I was too, immature to understand the magnitude of the decision that I was making, the harshness of the decision that I was making. So, what am I saying to you? I am saying that with every experience that I go through, that I see a young child, moving around with boys, I always, it always takes me back to that experience, and it irritates me. And it has become my ministry that I would stop and say, hi, don't do this. I would stop and say, do you know what is going to come out of this? you know, do you understand what is going to happen out of this? Do you know where this is going to lead you? This it, do you know the pains that can come out of these steps that you're doing? So, Sis Mark, when I saying, I feel as if I can call everyone youngsters to follow you and learn and understand life. I say, do you understand what can be the results and the consequences of what you are doing? So, what am I saying? I am saying that little, that reaction out of me, that experience out of me, is a way, so to speak, of me, going back to that young girl, and our ability to spot this kind of things in people. Sometimes, someone would see a pregnant young teenager and they would get so furious. They would get so furious, so angry. And I've learned to start observing that, oh, this experience is talking to something that this person went through. This experience is talking to something that was a journey for this individual. So, what am I saying? I am saying to you that those things that we have been through, those things that we have walked in, those journeys that we have experienced, they are for us to become better people. But above all, they are for us to shape other people. They are for us to shape identities of other people. But if we hold on to them in a negative way, if we hold on to the tears that come about from them, we are never going to become better people. We are never going to grow from those experiences. We are never going to help others grow from those experiences. We are never going to know ourselves. We are never going to know other people and help them discover who they are from the experiences of their lives. Why? Simply because we are crying for too long. Simply because we are perhaps in mourning for too long. I'm saying to you, you are at a crossroad, my friends. You are at a point in your life where you need to understand that you've got to reach a place of self-awareness. You've got to know who you are. And unfortunately, you don't get to know who you are unless you open those doors, those uncomfortable doors, those tragic doors, those traumatic doors of the trauma of your experiences. Because trauma happened to you, and trauma left a footprint in your life. So trauma took you to this place that you are in now. You are here because of the traumatic experiences of your life. They have left a mark in your life. They have left a footprint in your life. So maybe I'm saying to someone today, instead of leaving that abandoned child, instead of leaving that woman who was violated sexually in that closed door, instead of leaving that girl who was repeatedly cheated on by a man that she hoped to have a future with, instead of leaving that woman who was abandoned in a marriage by that man that she thought they would have a future together, maybe it's time for you to go and open the door, because you'll never get to know who you are until you confront that girl. Because it is on you to go back, open the door, and let that girl out. You've got to release that lady. You've got to release that young woman. You've got to release that abandoned young girl. You've got to release that cheated on wife. You've got to release that raped girl. You've got to release that untrustworthy woman who trusted and she was let down. You've got to release. Now, I wrote in my book about my own journey. And I wrote in page 190, I said this. I had issues with myself that had not been dealt with. God did not want closed doors in my life. I'm going to pause right there. You have closed doors in your life. You've got some closed doors in your life. You have to be willing to open them. He wanted to use me for his glory, and every door of my life had to be opened to him. For the longest time, there had been things about me that I was not aware of, and they had power over me. Until I addressed them, I would not be effective in God's assignment over my life. You see, young women, you see, young men, until you address some issues in your life, you will not be effective in living your purpose, in living God's purpose for your life. Until you address some issues in your life, you will really not know who you are. You have not yet met the real you. Because there are doors that are closed, that you are hiding. There are doors that you are closed, that are just too uncomfortable for you to go through. And I know this because I lived that life. For the longest time, I was so much in denial, so much unaware of the pain that I was carrying. I behaved in a certain way. I related in a certain way. But I did not realize that my aggression, I did not realize that my lack of peace, I did not realize that my my moodiness, I would be fine in 1 minute and I would be, so furious in the next minute. It did not take much to set me off. I did not realize. I was not aware that these were symptoms of the pain that I was carrying. These were symptoms of the pain that I allowed to build up in myself. I did not know. So self-awareness was not there within me of what was truly happening to me. And I go on further to say in my book, awareness is the greatest agent for change. Indeed, it is those people who are aware of themselves, their position, their environment, or even circumstances around them that tend to be able to navigate better through life. Until you know who you are, until you know why you behave in the way that you're doing, until you know why those things that you say you don't like so much, you don't like them, you can never operate to your maximum potential. You can never start working in your purpose. You can never start working for the glory of God. You cannot start being effective in a world where you are supposed to heal yourself, where you are supposed to be an agent for healing for others. You can never change. It's only when you are aware that the ball for change, the agent for change has been triggered. Do you know who you are? Or are you a product of your past? Are you aware that there are things that happen to you that you need to deal with? Could it be that how you behave? Could it be that how you relate? Could it be that how you constantly bubbly, how you are constantly drinking, how you are moving from relationship to relationship could it be a symptom of pain? Could it be a cry out to the world? Could it be your way of saying, help me? I do not know who I am. A lot has happened in my life. I do not know who I am because I am lost in the experiences of my past. I am lost in the pain that I carried. I am lost in the secrets of what happened to me. I am lost in the power that my perpetrator, my violator took away from me. I am lost in the prison of my rape. I am lost in the prison of my failed marriage. Could it be that you are in that prison? Today, I want to talk to you and say you have mourned for too long. You have been a rape victim for too long. Today, I want to speak to you and say, you have endured a lot. It's gone on for too long. You have given it power for so long. Yes, life happened to you. You did not ask for any of that happened to you. You did not bring it upon yourself. But it happened. And you've got to start moving on. While Samuel is mourning for Saul, God says, go and anoint David. Go and anoint David. There is a David within you that needs to rise. There is a Joshua that needs to stop crying for Moses, that must instead lead the people across the Jordan to the promised land. Until Israel crossed over the Jordan land, until they crossed over the Jordan River, until they crossed over to the other side, they had not seen the greater ability of God. And they would not see the greater ability of God because they were stuck in their mourning. You are not seeing the greater ability of God. You are not seeing the greater hand of God because you are stuck in the prison of your past. Who are you? Can you allow yourself to move on? Can you allow yourself to cross the Jordan River? Because it is once they have crossed over to the other side that they saw the God who could raise up a war for them. Until they crossed over to the other side, they had never seen God who made the sun stand still. They never saw God who fought a war for them. They never saw God who was able to bring walls of destruction unto the city of Jericho. Can you cross over to the other side so that you can see the greater hand of God upon your life? Can you cross over to the other side and leave the mourning? Yes, you have cried for too long, but be strong, be courageous. If you are to defeat the powers of this the power and the hold that these experiences have on you. You need to be strong. Open the door, confront it, be courageous, look at it for what it was. If it was a violation sexually, yes, it violated me. Yes, it hurt me. Yes, it brought brokenness to my life. But I am willing to move on from it. I am willing for God to build me up once more, so that I can see the greater Ntabi saying, so that I can see the greater Pastor Franz, so that I can see the greater Sesuma Kwena, so that I can see the greater me that God can do in my life. But you're not going to see the greater God if you are there mourning. You're not going to see greater days of your life if you are there mourning. You are not going to see greater experiences of your life if you are there crying over what happened years and years and moons and moons and moons ago. I so wish that, in as much as this is a very uncomfortable thing to do, you can go back to what happened. Because until you confront what happened, you're not going to be able to meet the new Ntabi saying. Trust me, in writing this book, in writing my book, I had to go through uncomfortable doors, open them. Allow God to come in. Allow God to, dress those wounds. I had to rip the band-ache of what I had bandaged myself, and allow God to start mending me, and allow God to start healing me, and allow God to start doing within me what was my healing journey. Do that. Only He could do that. I don't know who I'm speaking to this morning. I don't know who I'm speaking to this morning, but I want to encourage you to take the step. I want to encourage you to go back. I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to go back. I want you to go back. Not because you need to carry it with you, not because you need to never forget. No. I want you to go back simply because you are going to open the doors of forgiveness. That's why you are going back. You are going to open the doors of healing. That's why you are going back. You are going to open the doors of grace. You are going to open the doors of love to mend you. You are going to open the doors of grace to carry you. You are going to allow God to come in. You are going to open the doors of the word of God to saturate you. You are going to open the doors so that God can come and heal you. The Bible says to us that He sent His word in their time of distress and He brought them healing. You will never know the real person that you are. You will never know the real lovely, lovable human being that you are. Immaculately gifted human being that you are. You will never know the depth to which you can trust. You will never know the depth to which you can love. You will never know the depth to which you can raise up other people. You will never know the depth to which God can use you. You will never know the depth to which God can carry you. You will never know the depth to which you can be an agent for changing other people's lives as long as you are stuck in the prison of your past. There is so much that I want to share with you. There is so much that I feel that the Spirit of the Lord is leading me to share. This is Motivational Mondays, and it's a platform where I engage with people who are saved. I engage with people who are not saved. So I do so, in an approach that is, everyone can feel comfortable within. But for some reason today, the Spirit of the Lord is just leading me to talk, about the ability of God to heal you, about the ability of God to help you know who you are. When I wrote this book, I did not know myself. I was convinced that I had healed. I was convinced that I am able. I was convinced that I am a better person, but I wrote this book as a broken vessel. And only after writing this book, after all the tears that I shed while writing this book, it is only then that I came to know how broken I still was. It is only then that I started to realize that God wanted me to write this book so that I could heal, so that I could heal. So, in writing this book, in taking my message across to the world, I am not only healing myself, but I am also helping others to heal. Don't hide from your experiences. They don't define who you are. Your past doesn't define who you are. Your past doesn't define where you're going. God loves you regardless. Oh, God loves you regardless of the rape that was, upon your life. God loves you regardless of the violation that took place. God loves you regardless of the mistrust that happened in your life. God loves you and He knows you better. Come on, I'm inviting you to know yourself according to what God says you are. You are His child. He has made a great deposit within you. He has made a great investment in you. I want you this morning to go back and to seek. Go back and ask Him and say, Lord, what is it that you have deposited within me? Go back and say, Lord, why is it that I don't like this thing so much? Could this be a trigger for something that I went through in my life? Our memories are a vault. Our memories have a way of writing things for us. They create storylines for our lives. But our memories are also a vault that can store safely traumatic experiences. And if we don't go back and open that vault, if we don't go back and say, I am releasing you today, if you don't go back and say, get out, I have opened the door, you no longer have power. No one can come and shame me now over you. We will never meet the real people that we are. We'll never reach the real potential, meet the real potential that we are. We will keep describing ourselves in the generic terms. I don't like people who come here and they just talk to me the way they like. I don't like people who come here and they just do this. I don't. No one asks you what you don't like. People ask you, who are you? Who isn't Tabi saying? And I love what one of my my sister wrote here. I'm going back to one of the comments, and I'm motivated by this. When people ask you who you are, and she says, I am Bodu, the exhibit of God's grace and mercy, a servant through and through all areas of my life, and full of life, which is contagious everywhere I am planted, God helping me. This is who she is. Who is Ntabi saying? Ntabi saying is a nurturer. Ntabi saying is a lover of God. Ntabi saying is a developer of people. Ntabi saying loves adventure. Ntabi saying is an outgoing somebody. At the same time, though it may sound like a contradiction, Ntabi saying is a very homebound person. I am outgoing, but I am very homebound. I will be very selective in where I go because I spend most of my time at home with my kids. And I love to spend most of my time in the fellowship of the Lord. That is why I restrict my movements. Who is Ntabi saying? Ntabi saying is someone who loves to see people advancing. She's someone who will go out there and lead people by the hand and say, why is this not moving in your life? How can I help you move forward? Ntabi saying is a lover of all mankind. Ntabi saying is a lover of people. Ntabi saying is a progressive force. She is very young in spirit. She's very young at heart. She loves doing those goofy things that you would think she's too young, she's too old to be doing. Ntabi saying is the kind of girl that you will find playing about Ngusha. She's the kind of girl you will find playing tere tere at, in the street where I live. She's the kind of girl who you will find among children, Bako Children's Church. Ntabi saying is a pastor, but she is a young girl at heart. Ntabi saying is a young girl who loves to be around other young children. Because when I was young, I never got the opportunity to play. When I was young, I never got the opportunity to hang around other kids. When I was young, I never got an opportunity to just be me. So today, Ntabi saying, world, don't be surprised when you see me doing the things that the little girl in me never got to do. Don't be surprised when you see me going around serving people, because I am a lover of people. Don't go around, being surprised when you hear me ask you, what are you doing with your life? Because Ntabiseng loves to see the greatest potential out of everyone. That is who Ntabiseng is. Now I want to ask you, do you know who you are? Do you have a clue? Do you have an idea of who you are? Do you have an idea of what God has deposited within you? In my book, I'm just going to go back a few pages. That's on page 85. It took me considerable time to comprehend that the model of a life was the vehicle that God was now going to use to reach magnitudes. He had already deposited within me what was needed to accomplish this. He revealed, God knew everything I had been through. And now his first request was he revealed himself to me. God wanted me to know him. Despite every experience that I had been through, God wanted me to know him. And that he also was revealing my true self to me. I did not know myself, the real Tabisung. I knew the one shaped by the disappointment, the pain, the rejection, and that is who I lived as. All that I had encountered made a profound impact in shaping who I was, in influencing my beliefs. The real Ntabiseng was masked by those experiences. The calling meant that I was now going on a journey that will allow me to know who God was. It was going to be an adventure that would express him to me. Listen, your experiences, they shaped you. Now allow God to reveal himself to you. Now allow God to reveal yourself to you. He has already made the deposit within you. The experiences that you go through, they don't change what God has put in you. They don't change the path that God has put for you. It's up to you what you do. You can either say, I've gone through the hardest, but you know what? I'm not this. Yes, I may have been raped, but I'm not rape itself. I was a victim of rape, but now I am somebody empowered by the rape that took place in my life. I may have been somebody that lost trust in human beings. I may have been somebody that lost trust in men. I may have been somebody that lost trust in a lot of people. But you know what? I choose to regain my trust. I choose to let God redefine me according to what he has already set within me. Children of God, there is a lot that God can do in your life. There is a lot that your life can move towards if you only let go. If you only let go. I invite you this morning. Take down a pen and a paper. We've got these beautiful channels that we use here. It's my channel. It's in Ntabiseng Webers, and I write in it. And God willing, by the end of this year, we are going to release a channel that is specifically for people who want to live. And I'm saying people who want to live because a lot of experiences that we go through, they cause us to lose the zeal for life. They cause us to go through depression. They cause us to go through a lot of painful, traumatic experiences. And as a result, we get depressed, we suffer anxiety, we get depressed, and we give up on life, and our mental state is depressed. And sooner or later, we experience hopelessness, we experience helplessness, and we get suicidal. So we are hoping that by the end of this year, we are releasing a channel that will speak to people who choose to live. Don't get trapped in your past, such that you cannot even live in the now. Life is happening around you. Take a good look around you. Take a good look around you. Life is happening around you. And I promise you, if you are stuck in too much mourning, if you are stuck in too much crying for what happened in the past, you will miss the now. You will miss what the future can bring. You will miss what is going to take place in the years to come that God can do in your life, that is going to take place through your life. But you've got to be willing to wipe away the tears and to move on. The good Lord bless you. The good Lord keep you. I know that with this podcast, we've challenged and provoked thoughts, great thoughts. And I know, I can tell you this, I know it can only be for good. I know it can only be for the greater good in your life. I know it can only be for the greater revelation of who God is and what God can do in your life. I trust that this Motivational Mondays has been a very blessed one for you. I trust that this Motivational Mondays has been, one to cause you really to interrogate yourself. I don't want to. The last that I that is my objective really is to have this motivational Mondays and for people to live feeling good. I'm all for feeling good. It's good to feel good, eh? It's a wonderful thing to feel good, but it's an even better accomplishment when you are able to say, "I'm challenged. I want to know more about me. I want to know more about my past. I want to deal more with who, Ntabi Singh is. Rediscover her. Some of you, trust me, you have yet to meet the real you. And my prayer for you this morning is that as you journey after this podcast, you go and look. You go and look for the real you. You go and look for the real you. She's in there somewhere. She's in there somewhere. Behind the tears, behind the disappointment, behind the hurts, behind it all. It happened, put it aside. Now allow her to step out. Allow the young lady in you to step out. The good Lord bless you. Let's follow me on Instagram. My handle on Instagram is Ntabi Sengwepe. Khatla. My other page is it's Ntabi Seng's, it's Ntabi's space. And that page, you can get hold of all the information that you need on both pages actually regarding what we do. If you follow me, where I will be at, where I will be speaking and at what time. And I'm also available on this very platform, Facebook. Those of you who are tuned in through Facebook. And I've got, of course, a YouTube channel. And this is where you can find my show, Unfiltered with Ntabi Sengwepe. It's on that YouTube channel. Please, guys, remember to like and subscribe my channel. And let's get this message out there. Let's share this podcast. We all know of people who are going through something. We all know of people who are experiencing the most. But we need people. We are here for you. We are here to help you. But also learn this. There is a Jordan. There is a promised land beyond the Jordan. You cannot be mourning forever. You cannot be crying forever. There is the here and there is the now that you need to be a part of. The good Lord bless you guys. My book is available across all platforms. It's not available digitally, but I'm hoping that I've got a very bright someone who said they're gonna load it for me on Amazon. So I hope you'll get it on Amazon shortly. Now, you can, in the meantime, get my book at Exclusive Books. You can, in the meantime, get it at Bargain Books. You can get it at PNA, at CNA. I think it retails for 300 and something. I'm not sure. By us, we're still selling it for 295. So if at any point in your life you feel that you would like to engage with me, please do use these handles to get in touch on my social media platforms. Go through my DMs and send through your message. If you want to get in touch with me telephonically, my number is 082 504 2027. On this number, you will speak to our office and they will, of course, relay the message to us and we will be in touch with you. So do not be offended. We cannot take each and every call, but you know what? We are available to assist each and every person. So when they ask you, oh, are you looking for Pastor Ntabi Singh? You're looking for Pastor Franz? Okay, what is it about? When? And so on. Don't be offended. They are just doing their jobs so that when they come to us eventually, they bring us the full information and we can come back to you with the relevant response. Also, let me just take this opportunity to thank all of you who have tuned in. I believe that you will learn from this podcast. I believe that it has been fruitful. I believe that it has, done what it's supposed to do. And I thank the Lord, the good Lord who is just doing miracles through our ministry, God's Word at Work Ministries, through my own life. Look out, guys, for the newspapers. Look out for the magazine articles that will be shared regarding this book, regarding Choose to Live movement. I'm not going to say which magazines, yes, but they will be released soon. We will be featured in those magazines. You will find yourself there. We're also, of course, doing Tobela FM. We're also doing Lesedi FM. And we thank you so much for that. The good Lord just keep you. The good Lord just, carry you through. And the good Lord just be good to your families. Now you can also buy for yourself a copy of the CD from Kucho Malete. That is my son. He has just released his music. It's available on all digital platforms. You can also buy and order yourself. Use the same number that I just gave out now to order yourself a CD or to order yourself a USB. And hopefully you're gonna see us. You're gonna find us at your church. You're gonna find us at a worship night happening near you. You will be blessed by this music. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me love you and let me leave you. I'm gonna play with this beautiful song. This is the song by my son Kucho Malete. Again, you will get this song on the CD, the living word. I almost said the mending of a broken vessel. It's the living word. Guys, thank you. Have a beautiful week. Have a blessed one, guys. Cheerio. The good Lord keep you. The good Lord bless your homes. Bye-bye. Oh my. Okay, here we go.
Kwasosinga nasona nza sinike na Yesu ma dito nino muanga oh ma bokoni mileke soyez so Ponisi wa mina Bogo maya direla mu Ponisiwa. Come on, lift up your hands and say, He's why, yes. He's why, yes. He's why, Amina. He's why. He's on